What's up, Overwatch fans? Welcome to the third weekend of the 2019 Overwatch League season. We are getting ready for another huge day, beginning with the third and fourth place teams in our standings squaring off. The Paris Eternal will see if they can remain one of the 3 undefeated teams in the league. But the Expansion Eternal will face their toughest test yet when they take on the Atlanta Reign. DeFran and friends have quickly become a fan favorite. The Reign are 2-1 and want to prove today that they deserve to be mentioned among the league's elite teams. Welcome inside the Blizzard Arena. We are live in Los Angeles as week 3 of Stage 1 rolls on. This is the Watchpoint pre-show presented by State Farm, and we're here to set the stage for every match day throughout the season. I'm Malik Forte, and I'm joined by a few 200 IQ folks that you might know, Zoe, Brent, and Wolf. How's it going, guys? I missed the beginning of the week. Has it been pretty exciting so far?
Oh, yeah, it's been very exciting. But you've been sorely missed, of course, as always.
Oh, yeah. So super glad to be back. Super glad to be back, guys. All right, so I've been gone for a couple of days, but you know what we had to do for my first day back. Our insider, Mika Burton, hung out with the Houston Outlaws for some good old Texas barbecue to get a sense of how the team is feeling after a slow start. Plus, DeFran, Dogman, Cruz, and Ben Best let the trash talk fly ahead of their big matchup today. And it's the midpoint of our Stage 1, so we're sitting down all professional-like to give some performance reviews for our few teams. Now, when the action begins on stage, the Florida Mayhem will take on the Houston Outlaws. The Washington Justice will try again for their first win against the Shock, and Shanghai faces off against Dallas. But we've got a juicy matchup right out the gates. The third place Paris Eternal battle the fourth place Atlanta Reign. Atlanta has been solid with wins over Florida and Toronto, and the undefeated Eternal look like the masters of the triple tank support style of Overwatch being played right now. So how significant is this matchup for Paris, Wolf?
This is super important for Paris. I feel like this is where Paris can really solidify themselves as, you know, at least a top 3 team in that 3-3 meta, right? If you look at what's coming down the pipeline for them, they have Reign, not an easy matchup, then the Titans, then Shock. It gets easier for their last 2 weeks with Justice and Fusion, but this matchup in particular continues to put them on that upward trajectory for their match against the Titans next week.
For me personally, Wolf, I want to home in on one particular player on the Paris Eternal, and that's going to be Cruz, my guy from the UK. You already know. This guy plays such an insanely aggressive Lucio. He's the first in hero damage and final blows per 10 minutes. He also dies the most out of all the Lucios, but he plays such a high-risk, high-reward style that pays off for his team. He often just ends up just going straight into the fray, might end up getting first picked. In fact, the majority of the time he ends up getting first picked, but it doesn't matter because he ends up setting up 1, 2, maybe even 3 kills for the rest of his team. So his style of Lucio, so fun to watch. If you have the All Access Pass, definitely take a look at his POV for their match later today.
Every time I see him jump in, I'm like, no. Oh, yes. Good job, dude. All right, so the current style of Overwatch is perfect for the Paris Eternal. Zoe, how can Atlanta slow them down this time?
I mean, honestly, if we're looking at the matches so far Paris had, I don't think they've been truly tested, as in they've not been really faced with a very strong Sombra player. And if we're looking at Atlanta, have they really utilized Sombra? No, not really. We have a very small sample size. Overall, they only played it for 11 minutes. 4 of those were on the Fran, and I think Erstra also picked up the Sombra. And the Fran stats weren't terrible. I think he was somewhere in the top 5 in hero damage done per 10, which of course we had to like upscale a little bit, considering that he only played 4 minutes something on it. But yeah, I don't know if Atlanta actually does have that Sombra to play into Paris Eternal's 3-3 composition. And to make things worse, I don't think Paris Eternal is going to lose against a 3-3 mirror match. So I hope Atlanta has something up in their sleeves.
Something, and maybe that Torb can come back out. Maybe that's the answer. We don't know it. I don't know. Okay, well, let's move from 2 teams currently in our top 8 for stage playoff spots to 2 teams trying to fight their way in. The Shanghai Dragons got their 2nd win of the season and ever last night against Chengdu. They'll take on the Dallas Fuel, who have split a pair of matches in each of their first 2 weeks. When we look at the ups and downs for this Fuel squad so far, Zoe, what is something that they need to work out to find more success?
I think communication here will be a big thing to mention. If we're looking at most team fights and how they're being initiated, it is OGE jumping in and very little backup from his team. He's dying first an awful lot, and unsurprisingly so, they're not actually winning those team fights after he engages and, well, dies. So, yeah, it looks very much like there is a bit of an issue with the communication. And in fact, we can prove that, as OGE told Inven Global so himself in an interview where he did say that he is getting very, very nervous on stage, can't listen, can't talk, keeps on dying. And that is, in fact, what we saw. And unfortunately, in this interview, he said that that is still the case. So I very much hope that they somehow can get that under control.
Right. The mechanical skill is there, but the nerves, they need to be rectified. Now, the Dragons looked great again last night, Wolf. Who could give Shanghai the edge over Dallas today?
For me, it's definitely going to have to be Ding. And we're talking about Sombras a lot. It's one of those X factors you can bring in this meta to shut down other teams that are running 3-3. You can also use it against teams that are trying something a little bit different. Ding's just got great stats on the Sombra. He's really utilizing EMP quite effectively. Not only EMP, but just getting hack targets in the backline. If we take a direct comparison with him and AKM, however, the only big thing of note is that he is able to get more final blows per 10. That means he's converting on these hacks and these kills a little bit better than Dallas Fuel is with the rest of his squad. Across the board, though, it's a pretty close matchup between the two Sombra players here.
Yeah, I like that you're making the comparison there between AKM, because that is coincidentally also my talking point for the Dallas Fuel here. This guy, AKM, obviously, I think he's the most consistent factor now when it comes to Dallas Fuel getting wins. We know for a matter of fact that he is the one who's doing the majority of the main calling. Main calling especially important in the triple tank, triple support meta. You need to be calling these bubbles, you need to be calling the graviton surges, the engages, the disengages. It is such a vitally important role that is not quite evident through statistics, but AKM, Dylan, I'm going to call him by his first name because we're tight like that, you know, he does end up pulling through for Dallas Fuel, and I think that he's going to be one of the core reasons that this squad does see success in the future.
Right, he said he's feeling like himself lately, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And this guy's a legend. He's been in the competitive scene for years. He played for Rogue. He's one of the best players in the world. He was known for. He had a bit of a slump. You know, the community they weren't too hot on him, but he is battling back now. So you know, good on him.
Well, you and I both know a confident AKM is a scary one indeed. There's no question who the San Francisco Shocks leader is so far. When we come back, we'll tell you how he's going to lead them today against the Washington Justice. That's next on the Watchpoint Pre-Show.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.
In our third match on this lovely Saturday, the 9th place San Francisco Shock take on the winless Washington Justice. Washington lost to Philadelphia to start the week, while the Shock were able to take out the Hangzhou Spark. Zoe, what kind of improvement are you seeing from this Shock squad here on week 3?
I was actually looking at one individual player. He had his debut against their match against Vancouver Titans, and that is Violet. We upped this young man up and up and up, and rightfully so. It took him a little bit of time to warm up. I think he came straight out of the gate and got killed from Bumper instantaneously. So that was a rough start, but if we're looking at the trajectory throughout both of the matches he's played, Spark as well as Vancouver, it was upward. He definitely stabilized in the game against Spark, and he had a fantastic performance against the Vancouver Titans, which was surprisingly, I mean, they did lose that match 3-1, and yet he held his own and had some fantastic displays of Zenyatta there. I think on King's Row, he actually charged his ult the quickest ever in the league with 48 seconds on their attack round. So that was pretty impressive, and I hope to see more of that.
Yeah, a lot of potential with Violet. In particular, though, with the San Francisco Shock squad, I'm actually focusing on Sinatra more as a player. And this is a guy who, you know, he's made a name for himself in the league, very highly mechanically skilled. But you can see here, his first death team percentage, I wasn't too impressed with him in the first 2 maps against the Spark. I've been very critical of the Shock in this match here because I think they drastically played, you know, not to their potential in the slightest. 4 out of 51 team fights, all 4 of those first deaths occurred in the first 2 maps against the Hangzhou Spark. Now that is, you know, it's unconventional. I think it's not really what we expect from the Shock, and I would like to see them, you know, not throw the game out the window when they go into their future matches, because we know that they're capable of so much more. And I do know, you know, I like to harp on about the Shock, but it's only because, you know, I love them and I want to see them succeed. So there you go.
Oh,
right, indeed.
Friend.
Okay, well, on the other side, Wolf, the Justice are 0-3. What do you see that makes them close to finding success?
I mean, I think a lot of people are really comparing this team to Shanghai Dragons of last season. I think it's way too early to make that comparison. I think they've been looking better and better match to match. And sure, there are still a lot of big issues, but when you look at their match against the Philadelphia Fusion in particular, there was a lot of good team synergy in most of these fights on Anubis. They won control as well. Giannis looks very improved. When you go to Route 66, they nearly had a full hold, but there were just a few small issues, mostly relating to ult efficiency and ult timings. Guido pulling the Transcendence out, mistimed it several times there. Fazis getting caught first in a few fights. And these are the little small things that the Washington Justice can fix, and I think they're very easy fixes given a good practice schedule that could put them into a few wins here. You know, at least by the end of stage 2, I think they're going to have some under their belt.
Just need to look at the game tape, polish those edges, and they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Now, the 2 teams just above Washington in the standings will face each other today as well. The Florida Mayhem have looked better this season than last, but it hasn't translated into more wins just yet. The Houston Outlaws got their first win last week before losing a tough match to New York. Let's start with Florida, Bryn. Who should the Outlaws be keeping an eye on today?
It's got to be McGravy, hasn't it? This guy, he's made his debut in the Overwatch League the other day. He had a fantastic first game, and I'll be the first one to admit, I wasn't too hot on McGravy coming into this. I didn't think he was a fantastic player, but it had been a while since I'd watched him and been keeping up with him, and he really shocked me by how well he was playing. His self-destructs were on point. He was working well with the Florida Mayhem squad. Very surprised as well, considering he's just come into this roster. Not too sure how long he's been practicing with him, but he really did shine for me, and I think that he is going to be a problem if Houston start underestimating him coming into this matchup.
I completely agree with that. I also think that we have to take a look at how the Outlaws have been organizing their players a little bit more. They played Saya player, but also Tavik has moved away from being a centerpiece of the team, but actually more of a specialist. And I think this is where Tavik has always shined, not just playing the meta heroes, but playing the heroes he prefers to play. The Mei coming out here on King's Row against Chengdu, then later on Rialto against the Guangzhou Charge. He found great success with it, especially in this map here. But, you know, is it the strongest hero in the meta? No. Does he look perfect on it? No. But I like that they moved him. I like that they moved him into this more specialized role instead of having him, you know, just in there as the non-Korean on Brigitte, for example.
Just wait until he gets to play Hanzo. That's going to be awesome because, of course, you know, Tavik, best Hanzo in the world. All right, like Florida, Houston is also 1-3. So do you think that that's taking a toll on this experienced veteran group?
Yes and no. I mean, it's always hard to tell. We're not in their heads, but who's definitely in their heads is they themselves. Last week was very emotional for the Outlaws. Jake had I don't want to call it an outburst, but, you know, he was very invested. He was very passionate. He was targeted a lot in that game against NYXL, so there was a lot of deaths on his name. And yeah, he tweeted about it afterwards, saying that he's currently struggling. There was a lot of pressure on these teams. Now, even more so than ever, because the format changes have made it that every match, since we have fewer matches, have a lot more implications. So a loss is a lot tougher. Now, it's very important for a team with so many, like I would really say veteran players who have been going through this in the past. They have to leave their emotions at the doors. They have to come in fresh, and they have to be fresh with every single new map. And I think Houston has struggled with that in the past. That was one of the reasons why they just couldn't quite win those map number 5s, for example.
And it's just another case of where the mechanical skill is there, but then the heart and soul, the emotion, you know, they got to overcome that. But I think they're veterans, and they'll get to it. But Houston is hoping to feed on the mayhem today. Earlier this week, the Outlaws were feeding on some barbecue with our insider, Mika Burton. We'll see how Mika grilled the Outlaws next on the Watchpoint pre-show.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
The Houston Outlaws have 3 matches left in Stage 1. At 1-3, they may need to win out to contend for a spot in our Stage 1 playoffs. Our insider, Mika Burton, spent some time with the team to see how they find out how they plan on doing just that. What's going on, Mika?
Thanks, Malik. Houston may be towards the bottom of the standings, but they aren't letting that get them down. I took several of the Outlaws to get some quality Texas barbecue to talk about how they can turn their season around, their loyal following, and how they spend their time away from the game. Come on in.
Hello.
This is one of the best Texas barbecue restaurants in Los Angeles. We are at Baby Blues Barbecue in Venice. I'm stupid, I wore white today, but I'm committing.
I am so hungry.
I actually really want to know, are we gonna get food now? But what would you say are the Outlaws' goals as a whole for this season?
I'd say just keep working on teamwork.
I think my only goal is to make playoffs because last year we were 1 game away.
I mean, I'd say our biggest thing that we need to work on is just building consistency.
It keeps coming, oh my God. Of the 8 expansion teams, who do you think has impressed you the most?
Probably for me it's Guangzhou. I'm actually not looking forward to playing against Happy.
He makes me unhappy. He's so good.
Happy or Godspeed?
Godspeed's crazy.
Godspeed's really good.
I think Titans is obviously very strong.
Krillin from London Spitfire, he's impressed me a lot.
I need more mac and cheese right now.
Right now.
Right now.
What do you guys like to do in your free time?
How do you think we got here in the first place? We played games too much.
You should try maybe I don't know, kickboxing.
I think I was 9 years old. I was the youngest black belt in my city in Kempo Kung Fu Jiu-Jitsu.
I was on the bowling team in high school. That was pretty fun, actually.
Do you guys have any health rituals that you do?
If I'm at home, I'll just drink coffee all day. I don't drink any water.
Yeah, I drink lots of water.
So weird.
You drink no water. You need it. You need it, man. You are water. You're going to die.
What color is your pee?
It looks like the cornbread.
Yeah, that's severely unhealthy. Drink water, bro.
You can't make this guy do anything.
In your game against New York Excelsior, there was a passionate outburst from your teammate, Jake.
Those outbreaks do happen. You put so much time and emotion and investment into what you're doing. you just can't control sometimes, and it's like completely acceptable.
You're showing that you cared enough. You don't want to lose.
You guys know him, you love him. It's the Houston Outlaws.
We met so many crazy fans. No, crazy, okay. I don't mean crazy as in like bad crazy. I mean crazy as in like sweet crazy. There was one family that drove 12 hours from Mexico to come see us. Oh my just God. To meet us for like, they were there for like 15 minutes or something at most.
Thank you guys for coming out and eating barbecue and talking about yourselves and the season and the team. And I hope you had a good time.
It's nap time.
It is nap time.
I'll be napping in the car.
With the oldest roster in the Overwatch League, the Outlaws have plenty of experience on their team, which they believe will help them turn things around this season. When I spoke with Raucus about how he would view the year if the Outlaws missed the playoffs, he told me it would absolutely be a, quote, failure. They do believe they are close to breaking through, though, so let's see how they come out against the Mayhem today. Malik, back to you at the desk.
Thank you very much, Mika. It's not easy to stand out statistically on a team that isn't winning much yet, but Muma is playing a great Winston so far. He's in the top 8 in most major categories and top 5 in the all-important stats, like not dying and staying alive. Two people ready to get to work today are Atlanta's DeFran and Paris's Cruz. They've got some words for each other ahead of their clash, which is less than 10 minutes away. This is the Watchpoint pre-show presented by State Farm.
Give it up for the Paris Eternal. A warm welcome to the Atlanta Reign.
We are going to get the Atlanta Reign here, the starting 6 to kick things off.
This is a team that I'm very excited to watch in the 3-3 meta.
I'm looking forward to proving in the future that we're more than just a 3-3 team. The players we've got, I think we're going to do really well in all metas.
Paris carving through the Spitfire.
It's pretty nice for this meta and we'll keep working for that.
We have a very talented team and everything we do is with spirit. We have a lot of good team chemistry for being such a culturally diverse team.
They can tussle with the very best.
Are you guys excited to play Paris?
Yes. Can we stop it there, or do we have to elaborate?
People are hyped to watch this guy live.
The fan really sticks out, at least for me. It's gonna be a good time, like shutting that down.
DeFran! He says I'm a one-man wrecking group.
I'm not washed up.
Yeah.
All right.
Both are the main tanks I want to face. They're both really good, and I'd like to play against them and see who I can kill the fastest.
Oh, that Earth Shatter from BenMes.
Soon. Everybody thinks he's a god. It would be nice to beat him.
Leading the charge is Soon. Top player for a long time in Overwatch.
Why should they look out for us?
Because you have a random playstyle. We'll maybe feed or we'll maybe
Anta can say whatever they want. We'll let our play speak for itself.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. See you in the day.
Yeah.
My God, I love the trash talk. And here is the Paris Eternal, one of the remaining undefeated teams. Cruz and the proclaimed kings of the 3-3 are looking to steamroll the Reign and remain perfect. And on the other side, the Fran Dogman and the squad from the land of the Dirty Birds are looking to get one step closer to the Stage 1 playoffs. It's time for some back caps, ladies and gentlemen. The NYXL are the only 5-0 team so far. Brent, is New York the favorite to win Stage 1?
Ooh, that's a good question. Personally, I mean, I'm looking at New York. I'm looking at the competition they're facing. Realistically, I think the only challenge right now is the Vancouver Titans. And the only way they're going to be playing that is in the playoffs themselves. New York, they haven't really been tested. You know, you look at the matches they played so far, I don't think they've really been pushed to the limits like Vancouver have. And Vancouver have looked solid in pretty much all their matches, except for the map 4s when they just start throwing and Bumper starts taunting on the cart. So, yeah, it's in this one, I'd say probably no.
All right, moving along, looking at our division standings, New York and Vancouver are at the top. But Wolf, do you agree that Paris and Guangzhou are the second best team in each division?
I think that, you know, when you look at it, they're obviously both really far behind Excelsior and Titans. There's a big gap there, but there's also a gap in games played for the Eternal. I think the Eternal, we could say yes. I mean, they have looked really good in this 3-3 meta. If they're able to take the match against Atlanta, that jumps up even higher. The other question we have, you know, of course, is will they be able to beat Vancouver? For the Guangzhou Charge, a little bit more inconsistent, a little bit tougher to say that they're at number 2.
Okay, all right, that's a hot take. All right, time for predictions, everybody. Brent and Wolf like Paris over Atlanta, but Zoe is pulling her Swiss card and staying neutral on this one. Zoe does like Houston over Florida, along with Wolf. All 3 analysts take San Francisco to beat the Justice, and Zoe has Dallas, while Brent and Wolf are riding the Shanghai train. Brent and Wolf, let's hash out this Florida-Houston matchup. 30-second face-off, go.
You want to go first? I should go first?
You should go first.
Thank you very much. Okay, so Florida Mayhem, I think they're playing particularly well. They've improved steadily. They've had great additions with McGravy coming back into the team, or coming into the team, I should say. I mean, they're looking a lot tighter recently.
They have been looking really good, but on the other side, the Houston Outlaws running a lot of different compositions right now, fighting tougher opponents, going toe-to-toe with them. I'm kind of leaning towards them, but I like your point there a lot.
No, I like your point as well. I think that's a fantastic point.
Oh my God, guys, that's not how a face-off works.
You guys are too nice. Too cordial with each other. I hate it. I did not like that face-off. But guys, that does us here for the Watchpoint pre-show presented by State Farm. Blizzard Arena, make some noise. Everybody enjoy the matches. We'll see you later.